Welcome to the WangHiro podcast, where we answer Malaysians' burning questions about personal finance with fact-based answers. Are you one of the Malaysians out there who, when you get your salary, it's gone within just a few days? You have to pay all your bills, some which have been long overdue. What you will be left with is an empty bank account, no savings, and a heart full of anxiety. This is not just a problem for low-income earners. High-income earners are affected too. Welcome back to WangHiro with me, Louis, and my co-host, John. Today we're asking, why do people get into the lifestyle of paycheck to paycheck, and how can you get out of it? So John, what's the reason why people get into this kind of like paycheck to paycheck lifestyle or cycle?
The official term of it is called lifestyle creep, but for me, I use the Malaysian way of describing it. Installment here a little bit, then installment there a little bit, then installment here, installment there. Then, they will go into this. Okay, I give you an example of a friend. Okay, he actually went to look at a Japanese car. Installment was, I think, 1,006 a month. Okay, 1,006 a month. He could easily afford it on his salary. And then what happened was he went into a Continental car showroom. Okay, and he said, "Oh, John, the difference in installment is only 600 ringgit a month."
Only.
Only. The keyword, the key here is not 600. The keyword is only, right? So he ended up getting that Continental car, and I was helping him through sorting out all this, and obviously I test drove the car too. Very nice, very very close friend of mine.
No doubt.
Yeah, it was a nice car, but again, that's where the operative word was only, and this is where okay, how do you? But again, you see, right? It's easy for us to make an assumption, make a judgment, but I think where it really happens is really just adding bits and pieces here, and then you don't realize that, oh my gosh, this is the kind of lifestyle that because it's a little bit it adds up over time. So people say you should save money sikit-sikit lama-lama jadi bukit, right? This one is sikit-sikit lama-lama jadi gunung of debt lah, and that's why this lifestyle. You think about it, you start off, oh, okay, I'm a graduate, but I'm earning above median. So probably about 5,000-6,000. Okay, Toyota Vios, not really a problem, 1,000 plus a month. Okay, then you start earning maybe about 9,000-10,000. They say, oh, okay, everyone's getting a house, so let's get a house, right? Then you start, oh, okay, another 2,000 here, or maybe 3,000 here. Then whoops, okay, then after that, right, you start having kids. And then if you work because you're paid well, right? Then your colleagues around you, oh, I'm sending my son here, I'm sending my daughter here. Oh, okay. Then you feel a little bit of peer pressure. Then you say, yeah, government school cannot. And then we go private school. Then you say, yeah, this one. Okay, then you start benchmarking. Say, okay, this one value for money. Then a little bit there again, you see. And then after that, you see next door, how come suddenly my colleague upgraded the car, and he's earning roughly the same as me, It's like, I should, pamper myself. I deserve this promotion. And that's where really it follows your paycheck. It follows your paycheck. And the struggle for most people is that how do you live? I wouldn't say cheap. Don't get me wrong. I used to be a miser, and cheap I was miserable. Okay. What I'm saying is, can you find a place where you hit an equilibrium, but then whatever new income that you're getting you should not spend according to that. So I'm saying that come to a point where you're comfortable, okay? But once you have more income coming in, you discipline yourself to spend below that. That is the struggle. As a fresh graduate, I fully understand. But here is where instead of worrying about expenses, I will worry about how to bring in more income. So it works in tandem, Louis. A lot of people say save, live beyond your means. I would say that it's only half truth. The other half truth is really, how do you find a way where you can bring in more income? Because you're not going to save your way to be a millionaire, you see? Yeah. I mean, Louis, you look at yourself, when you were working for someone and then at the same time you wanted to start your own business and all that kind of thing, it was really this parallel path that you were going on, which is like trying to figure out a way how to bring in more money, but at the same time not live beyond your means. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. I think those are very like tough years. I would say like the first like um few years, like maybe 3 to 5 years after I graduated, were very, very tough years.
Hmm.
But yeah, I was balancing like my job and then like my all of the businesses I want. It was not just one business, the few businesses that I wanted to start. And to think like the capital that you have would come from your salary, right? And you have to put it in. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't work. Sometimes you get scammed in between. I
Yeah.
got scammed like more than 10K during that time.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's quite a lot of balance between that. Yeah, but I mean there's one end of the spectrum, which is the high income earners, which they obviously have too much lifestyle creep, and then they're living way above their means. But how about those who actually earn very little, right? So one survey by Deloitte found that 65% to 70% of millennials and Gen Zs actually live paycheck to paycheck, and they're quoting that the living expenses are actually too high.
Hmm.
So in this case, is there really like any way out? They are also already having all these part-time jobs. So.
Yeah, I think okay. It's actually very very good that you raise up this point because if you look at salary inflation, it has not really happened. I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, I worked for a multinational when I first started. I was very very lucky, but even then, comparatively, so I asked my seniors who were in the same company when they got started, right, which was like 20, 30 years before me, they were already getting like 2,000 ringgit a month. And bear in mind, during their time, 20,000 ringgit can buy you a decent car. Okay, 20,000 ringgit. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, during their time, like 1980s, right? So here I was, early 2000s, and I was getting, probably 3.2 plus allowance, everything 5, uh, higher end of the spectrum. Can you imagine those guys that get paid like 3K? So here is what I think. If you're waiting for a windfall or the government or something to help you along the way, I think that's a little bit of the victim mentality kind of thing. So here is what I will try to do, and I've done this, gone through and done this before. Think of what are the what are the skills that will pay you more. So while you're working, while you're already taking on part-time jobs, I would rather that you spend that time in the interim, like what you said. You were doing this parallel path, Louis. I would advise those that are like already working 2 or 3 jobs to bring in income to reduce one first, okay, and spend that time to figure out, hey, can I get a bigger bang for my buck? It's like when you go shopping, you always like spend few hours on Shopee or spend few hours online, right? Try to figure out the best value of buying something, a car, a computer, whatever, right? And in the case of the Gen Zs and the millennials, can you take a step back to find time to find a better job that pays you better, more money for hours? Meaning, if you are getting a part-time job that pays you like 15 ringgit an hour, can you find something that pays you 30 ringgit an hour? And obviously, for you to get that, you may need to upgrade your skills. So that's why, like, cutting back on one job, paying up a little bit more to either take a course or to join a master class or something that can actually give you that leverage. Like, I don't know if you heard of this story, Louis, by Anthony Robbins. He was a janitor, okay,
Mhm.
and you know what actually changed his life? He actually paid $35 to attend a class.
Oh, okay.
That was the pivoting moment. Pop, he woke up. And that was actually his entire pay for the month or something like that. Lah.
Mm.
Yeah. And you see, sometimes you need a differing angle rather than just, we call it, I used to have this term, Louis, it's called Kerbau Power.
Oh,
So
okay.
I think you understand what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
work very, very hard, right? Yes, you're getting some kind of result, but what you use brute force. You don't actually think. This is where I urge you guys to take a step back, think about like this is how I started, the businesses that I have. How can I even told my some of my business partners, and they know this. trading business, you may earn very high per hour, whatever, but it's not scalable. So, but even before that, what pays you more? Would you want to be a tuition teacher to children, but you go into red ocean and you're competing against that? So you may be getting what, 30 ringgit, 50 ringgit per hour or something like that. Then what are the things that you can do that, gives you that bigger bang? Can you go into training for like academicians or training for corporates? Then you'll find out, hey, yes, I can get paid higher per hour in the corporates, but then there's also other struggles, like how do you get the network? Do you have to spend time doing business development, all that kind of thing? So long to short, there's many ways, but I think the objective of me putting up that advice is that sometimes don't go into Kerbau Power, do a lot of things, but then you are burning your hours, So take a step back. I know it's not easy, because let's say you have 3 jobs and then you're earning just enough to have a little bit of enjoyment, right? But take a step back, probably suffer 3 months, 6 months, find out what you can pay better, take on the skill, develop that skill, get yourself paid better. Then what you realize is it becomes a habit for you to continuously upgrade. And you come to a point of time where, my main job is the problem. My main job isn't paying me enough money. And that's where the expansion happens. That's where you will network more and all that. Yeah. So here's the struggle. You can't save your way. Obviously, don't go and YOLO your life and your finances, but you can't save your way to be a millionaire. You have to figure out how to grow that income.
Yeah. I mean, to that point about like just like investing some time into a new skill. I mean, now that I think about it, it was so long ago, I almost forgot. I actually did that too with SEO back then. So I think even when you think like you really don't have time, right, you can carve out like at least 30 minutes to an hour of your time, I think, every day to learn something. So how I learned SEO very like slowly was like I told myself, I'll just spend 1 hour a day on anything related to SEO. So back then it was just it was like 2013, 2014, more than 10 years, almost 10 years ago. So Neil Patel's blog was the EAT blog, the main blog that was talking about SEO and all things digital marketing. So I just told myself, I should spend 1 hour a day on this blog just to read. And after reading it for like maybe 3 months, then I started to think, let me try to practically implement this. Yeah. So I already had some basic website building skills. So I built a website just as an experiment to test out this skill. And then then this website went from 0 traffic to like 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. So, actually this is how it works. Then I started to tweak. Over time, I easily like made over 6 figures from this skill alone. And then this allowed me to pivot to other businesses, etc. So if I think back, I always think back about the time when, it's just 1 hour a day, 1 hour a day. Yeah. Or I think SEO is a little bit technical. There are some other skills that you can learn. I think there are a lot of resources, or maybe we can prepare one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like listening to your story just now, Louis, actually, this was, so for the audience out there, this was what Louis felt she like her ikigai lah, what she liked to do, what she could spend 1 hour a day doing. Find that ikigai for yourself, guys. And it doesn't necessarily need to be an SEO. For me, I found investing or just studying businesses was just my drug lah. Like just reading Fortune, reading Forbes, reading how people invest, and attending classes, or workshops that did it. That was my drug, right? And that's why I pivoted into this. So for you guys out there, find your drug, for the lack of a better word. Find your drug. It could be photography. It could be, terrain. I always like to quote my friend who has this terranium business. I never even knew about what was terranium before I met him, and he was one of my clients. Find that drug, find that ikigai, and it's not work. If you find that ikigai, right, it's not work. That 1 hour, instead of like I procrastinate going to the gym, right? If you find that purpose of that thing that you're gonna try to make income with, then you realize, wow, it's actually a joy. You know, I know people. Actually, I was attending a function last night, right, Louis, before this recording, and I was telling some of the guests on the table, I said, will you buy a donut that costs 85 ringgit in a box of 6, right?
Okay.
And they said, and they're from Sarawak, so like, we don't pay that kind of money for food, right? So they were like shocked, And I said, yeah, but in KL people pay for it, and I'm pretty sure the person who created this, she's enjoying herself. He said, hey, try it out as a hobby, and then she charged premium. Trust in yourself, be willing to charge that kind of price because you need to make that kind of margins for food. And yeah, it's a success. So again, rather than struggling and use Kerbau Power to solve it, right? Take a step back. Yes, like Louis said, and I can attest to it. When you're moving into this transition, you're always like, wow, always on the edge already. It's like, wow, you mentally you're exhausted, physically you're exhausted, and at the same time now you cut back on one part-time job, then financially you're constrained. But always think about it. You are building your asset. This is something no one can take away from you, right? You become trader, whatever. Yeah, you may learn a little bit of skills, you arbitrage here and there. But what's your IP? What's your asset that you're building over the long run to scale your business? And I hope that, those of you listening out there, these were things that, Louis and myself, we had to go through school of hard knocks, and, no one guide us in a way. Guide in a way was, the blogs, the YouTubes, whatever. How I wish I could turn back time and then just willingly pay for a good expert, to be honest. I would not, I spent tens of thousands, even close to a few 100,000 on just learning how to invest. But I felt well worth it, because if not, I would have never entered into this field, never found that this was somewhat of a calling for me, and I'm pretty sure Louis, you would agree, right? Paying for good courses, good workshops to just accelerate that, you see.
Yeah, back then when I was like trying to make this transition, I did like in Miri, it's even harder to find those programs. So I actually paid like 50 ringgit to attend like a communications workshop before. It was quite good. It's just that it ended with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
I just couldn't find more. I wish I could just pay. So I ended up actually paying Ramit Sethi for his courses.
Nice.
So I loaned some money from my mom, about 680 ringgit a month, just to pay off the 3,000, 4,000 ringgit. Like it was like 1,000 US dollars at that time for that course to teach you how to sell digital services.
Nice.
It's called like Earn 1K. I don't know if he still has it. So for those who watch his show on Netflix, it goes way, way back. So this was like probably in 2012 or 2011.
I see.
Yeah. And like regarding the Kerbau Power, I was like just thinking back, I actually did also like make that conscious decision not to put my time into that kind of Kerbau Power, which is then was like also tuition for me. I was doing tuition like forever in my whole university life to fund for my textbooks and all that. It was the best paid. Back then as a student, tuition was the best paying one for 3 hours a week. Pay was like per head 33 ringgit.
Okay,
so yeah, it's okay, and the class size was not very big, so I think I got about 600. On good months, I even got 1,000. But
nice.
That's not always every month, so the students fluctuate. So anywhere between 600 to 800 was the norm. So I took that money. I even like got a root canal done.
Wow, nice.
Yeah, imagine 1,500 as a student. I was like, wow, okay, because I want to keep my tooth right. So yeah, I think you have to make that conscious decision, as Tom mentioned, that not to put too much time in that kind of thing. Not to look down on those occupations. It's just,
don't get us wrong. It's just
the paycheck to paycheck problem.
Yes, you see, can they survive paycheck to paycheck? Can. Even at 50,000, you can survive, or even at 3,000, you can survive. There are guys that get, minimum wage 1,500, and they can still survive. But the objective of this episode is, how do you want to escape from that? How do you want to come out of that cycle? You cannot be doing the same thing like everyone else and expecting the same result. You see where I'm coming from? What we're trying to do is, only those, if you want to achieve that kind of breakthrough result, there has to be some sacrifice. It could be a temporary sacrifice about, the second or third gig that you have a reduction in income for you to try. Because a lot of times what I realize is this, and even, a good friend of mine, Rondi, we talked about it in one of the podcast episodes. It's like, how do you come to a point where you're a transferable skill? that you can level up, because it's always a bit about skills mismatch. Like I'm coaching a friend of mine. She's running her own business, and someone offered her a job, Louis, doing something. And I said, can you get that person to scope out what you're doing, rather than come to a salary, rather than come to a contract. And then you realize that, crap, a lot of Malaysian businesses, they think that they pay you a salary and you can solve the world hunger problem for them.
Correct.
That
Right.
is the problem, and that's why people are still living paycheck to paycheck, because you have no clue how to defend yourself, and employers want to squeeze you out to solve. So again, it's really about thinking for yourself. And while it may sound selfish, trust me, your organization will be better off when you think about yourself and be selfish. What do I mean? Because when you think about yourself and become selfish, you build an asset. And then if the managers or the owners of the companies are smart enough, and you start leveling up to their level and you start talking, the good ones will appreciate you. You can grow the business together, and that's what is needed. But if you've built up the skill, and then you realize that the company still has not grown, in terms of mindset, not money, just mindset, right? Then it's time. It's time. It's time for you to like think of other things, think of either pivoting or whatever. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that probably is most of the things you have to say for this, like how to escape the paycheck to paycheck. It's not easy. I think my first like probably 4 years or 5 years after graduation was I think much more than paycheck to paycheck. Like it's like worse than paycheck to paycheck. I feel like I was still using last month's paycheck to pay for this, like I don't know, like no, this month's paycheck to pay for like 2 months ago's like problems, so
Yeah.
that kind of thing. Like, and then on over and on top of the paycheck to find yet another paycheck, your paycheck is not enough, then that was a very big struggle. But I understood that if I persisted for very long on this path where I built myself up as an asset,
Yeah.
I would benefit from the rewards after lah. A lot of
Understand.
people actually back then, right?
Uh-huh.
And another trap is the MLM sometimes.
Oh yes.
So this is something that if your side gig is an MLM, that's not very good lah. For it being like a long-term thing. Depends what you want to do, but sometimes like I have people I know, a lot of people I know went into MLM, and then like during the first few years they even came up to me and then like wanted to sell me the product. And then they said, oh, look at me, you are still an engineer, I just need to sell this, I make 3 times the salary. They always told me that. I think I had more than 3 people tell me that.
Wow.
My ex-classmate, my acquaintance. They said, oh, how much you make as an engineer? Engineers nowadays don't get paid a lot. I was only making 1,800 to 2,000 that time. So it was easy lah. They said, oh, I'm only making 6K every month. Blah, blah, blah. And then like, okay lah. I was like, okay lor. In my mind, I feel like that doesn't sound like a transferable skill. That doesn't sound like a skill that I can grow. It's just
Correct.
a sales thing, right? You're just participating in this pyramid.
Correct.
So at any point, you are dispensable, you are replaceable. There's no way we can become like assets in the company this way lah. So
Yes.
that's one trap I will avoid lah.
Yeah, that's right. Spot on. Yeah. So maybe you can wrap it up.
Yeah, to wrap things
I
up.
think
Okay, so hopefully for our audience out there who are facing this problem of living paycheck to paycheck, you've picked up some skills to manage the problem. It is not an easy problem to be in. John and I can attest to that. We've been through it. So hopefully you can find a way out. If you have other questions that we haven't covered, you can leave them in the comment sections below. So if you enjoyed today's content and you want more personal finance or investing related content from Malaysia, you can like, subscribe, and hit the notifications button to get updates from WangHiro. We'll see you again in our next episode. Thank you. Bye-bye.